Did you hear that? Someone needs help. But who?
Hi there!
Year 2022 marks the 30th anniversary of Barney and Friends, the series that launched the stardom of Barney the Dinosaur on television. Today, we're shining a spotlight on the franchise by taking a look at the first season of this program, the one that started it all, to see what it was all about. The watch-through done for this was something very interesting and eye-opening for me personally, as I'd grown up with a lot of this season, but had never before sat down to watch it all the way through. So much was familiar, yet so much new, and I wanted to share my experience with all of you. Barney and Friends, the first season.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I'm Barney the Dinosaur.
Barney and Friends hit the air on April 6, 1992. It's not the easiest thing to come across someone that doesn't know the base premise revolving Barney, but for those unfamiliar, Barney is a stuffed dinosaur toy residing at a school. Through the imaginations of young children, Barney then comes to life to care for the kids, teach them lessons, and play. Coming off the heels of Barney and the Backyard Gang's final VHS outing, it should be no surprise that the new program would bring over elements from its predecessor. This was of course done for a variety of reasons, to save on time, to save on production costs, but also to breathe a sense of familiarity for those who'd known the show prior. One of the most notable aspects of this would be its characters. Out of all of the kids from the latter half of Barney's Backyard Gang videos, Amy, Jeffrey, and Adam would be the only few who would not make appearances in the PBS series. Michael, Tina, Lucy, and Derek would all make their way over, whilst new characters would be introduced as series regulars. These characters being Min, Sean, Tasha, and Kathy, who made her first appearance just 1 year beforehand in Barney and the Backyard Gang Rock with Barney. Baby Bop would also become a series regular. The kids themselves are great, with an attempt made to give them a level of personality similar to those from the Backyard Gang home videos. Their acting is fine for the production they were a part of, and they all bring their own charm to the episodes. Tina carries herself with the presence of someone who'd been with Barney for a long time, leading the rest of the group on different occasions, which makes the most sense. She at times can also be heard referencing memorable moments from Barney and the Backyard Gang, as a little nod, but not in ways that would confuse viewers unfamiliar with the past series.
Barney, Barney, touch the ground. Are you on my phone? Oh no! He's tangled up in the jump rope again.
Sorry, kids.
Michael is also shown to be that of an older kid helping the younger ones out, whether it be creating projects or giving ideas based on his previous interactions with Barney. Sean is obviously the youngest of the bunch, and early on would often look towards his older cast members during dance routines, or even just for reassurance. Derek, for some reasons, during different songs will just speak the lyrics rather than singing them, which I thought was a little strange, but I mean, he's cool. I've always really enjoyed Derek. Lucy has easily the best acting out of the main cast of human characters. She's a natural, and it's very much a pro when it comes to her age at the time of filming. But that doesn't mean it's without its cons. Given that Leah Gloria was 14 in 1992, there are a good amount of times in which the entire cast is in the frame, and you're just looking, being like, yeah, she might be a little too old to be here right now, but yeah, it's fine, whatever. But Lucy being with her sister Tina is something the show needed. It added a sibling dynamic that could be played around with, and it was just wholesome in general. Kathy is delightful, curious, carries her teddy wherever she goes, and has scenes that could just absolutely melt your heart to pieces. Min is wonderful. Pia Hamilton's acting is phenomenal, and her excitement towards just the concept of imagination, I think, is what always made her my favorite character. Also, there was one time where Baby Bop was leaving and Min just got kind of mean for no real reason. like at all.
No, I'm tired from the hot, cold song. I want to go night-night. Naps? Yuck. Bye-bye.
Like, what the, bro? Tasha loves surprises and is only brought into the series about halfway in. She's the new kid and learns about the others as they learn together. Barney himself is exactly as friendly as he had been in the home video series prior. In some instances, he's actually written and presented as somewhat of a lovable doofus, which is interesting.
I just don't understand what could have happened.
Barney!
Yes, Michael?
You're holding the map backwards. The words are on the other side.
Barney!
Just kidding. Okay.
His mentor role is strong, and he gives off the vibe of an imaginary teacher with each passing episode. While there are times that it feels Barney's ad-libs can be a bit too much, specifically during songs, you can tell that the voice, Bob West, and body performer David Joyner are growing their connectivity as the show goes on. In early episodes, Barney's mouth movements are more sporadic, as Joyner struggles a bit to predict West's different inflections. However, in time, the puppeting improves, and West begins to test whether or not he can relate to Joyner when Barney should perform leaps into the air with vocal build-ups.
Then maybe you could hold the egg and keep it warm until it hatches.
Maybe that would work. Oh boy, I always wanted to be a mama hen.
I bring this up as these two performers together are a driving force, making up two halves of the character's personality. Barney would go from a character that at first seemed a tad unsure of himself, to one brimming with confidence and excitement in both voice and actions through the works of both West and Joyner together, and it's truly inspiring to watch. Baby Bop is very baby here. She speaks about herself in third person and is treated like a baby, being taught different lessons by the kids before leaving each episode she appears in. Her role is nothing too huge, but her purpose is served well, and adds an extra little something to the program. With Barney, I've always been of the belief that even just a pinch of something that the kids can call their own is enough to make them interesting. And in the end, they're all just kids. Kathy totes her teddy wherever she goes and wants to fit in, doing what everyone else does. Min hates naps, as kids normally do, and comes from a household of 9, explaining her aversion to sharing her things throughout the show. Lucy is the older sister of Tina, and at times can be seen acting almost motherly to both her younger sibling and even Sean. It's things like this that make these characters as relatable as they can be, and fun to watch, as you want for them to learn and to live lives under what they teach to each other.
Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation.
Barney's main theme gains a new coat of paint, utilizing the iconic beginning and ending lines of the song, while interchanging the middle portion to fit with the new program. Barney and Friends also carries over songs from Barney and the Backyard Gang. It was very heartwarming to hear an instrumental ring out for a song that was used in the Backyard Gang videos, and recognizing them immediately. Songs like The Happy Wanderer.
A little traveling music, please. Hiking we will go.
And Six Little Ducks being great examples.
Now let's hear the song.
This duck reminds me of a song.
You mean...
Barney and Friends makes a great effort to introduce new songs as well. My Family is Just Right for Me.
They come in all different sizes and different kinds, but mine's just right for me. Yeah, mine's just right for me.
And The Barney Bag both make their first appearances in this season. Now, of course, with a show of this nature being 30 minutes per program, the biggest majority of each episode is filled with music, meaning an average of at least 10 different songs per show. And not every song is a winner.
Don't get in their car.
No!
Don't take anything from them.
No!
In fact, there's a lot of songs that I believe just make the episodes worse. I mean, the messages are nice, but just the song sucks. I'm sorry. It's interesting though, too, because there are new songs introduced that are kind of cool, I guess, but they just don't really mean anything. Like when Barney grabs a glass of milk and they just start singing about it.
There's nothing like a glass of milk.
That's right.
Nothing like a glass of milk. We've looked around, but have never found anything better than milk.
Like you can't tell me this wasn't done to pad the episode out. Like what? Why is y'all singing about this? Like who cares?
To me, why don't you run? I see you don't have any gun.
You what?
Music is important, and credit where it's due, because there are many staple songs brought to the forefront here that would be used in future outings for the franchise. Some new songs have also even made my favorites list, such as the song about overcoming your fears.
Thunder used to scare me.
But that was before Barney taught me that the things that used to bother me really aren't so scary at all.
And even the song involving rhyming different words with those that start with the letter N.
Pickle.
Nickel,
Hose.
nose,
Game.
name,
Fun.
nut.
We're all done.
Crew also made good use of taking songs previously sung in past episodes and repurposing the lyrics to give it a whole new feel and fit with an entirely different episode. A lot of effort was put in to put these songs together for the series, especially factoring in the time crunch the team was on. Even if not every song hit, they were there and they served a purpose, and that's all that really matters.
Oh,
A star.
and it's just for you.
Twinkle, twinkle.
The first season of Barney and Friends makes itself very apparent that it is indeed the first season. It should only be natural to address the elephant in the room when it comes to the nature of this series of episodes. There's a strong air of awkwardness that fills the episodes unintentionally, especially early on. Whereas the Barney in the Backyard Gang home videos would see the characters traveling to imaginative areas and different sets often, switching to primarily one school setting for 30 episodes would of course prove to be somewhat challenging and different. While it's clear that specific themes are very much put forth as a grounding point in each episode, many come off somewhat incohesive throughout their entirety. It's been stated by former cast members and staff that time was certainly an issue during production. The time crunch affecting different factors of the series that are hard to ignore. Barney's lack of yellow toes when he appears as his plush form is one of the few most pointed out visual aspects relating to the production. However, the biggest issue the first season seemed to face was padding. The amount of times an episode had to have songs repeated back to back in order to fill the 30-minute runtime is too many to count. Some instances being as early as the first episode, The Queen of Make-Believe.
Dance and dance and dance until you all fall down with me. Whee!
After Barney and the crew sing Old King Cole, Barney makes an odd request.
May we do the dance again?
Yes, you may, but the dance continue.
Oh, goody! Here we go.
They could not do this and get away with it today. They literally just sang Old King Cole twice for 3 minutes straight. I know them kids was tired. Another instance being the fourth episode, Hop to It, which is my least favorite episode of the entire season.
That family of jumping frogs you did at the end reminds me of a song about how animals exercise. Let's all do it together.
In which the ending is comprised of the cast pretending to be animals and repeating the same song and routine for 4 straight minutes.
I think we should all sing it again, okay?
At the end of every episode, there is also a segment known as Barney Says. Here, Barney returns to summarize the events of the program and the lessons taught throughout.
Hello again to all my friends. I'm glad you came to play. Our fun and learning never ends. Here's what we did today.
The thing is, the runtime of this segment itself tends to fluctuate and can also be seen as a way to pad the episode out more in order to fill the allotted screen time. These script timing issues make up much of the first half of the season, making it apparent that the staff had not yet gained their footing in this area and can make watch-throughs feel somewhat exhausting.
Here's a square on the table. I see a triangle. I spot a square. It's right there.
And there's another circle.
It would not be until the season's latter half that things would pick back up, with episodes using its main theme across the full program without feeling the need to trail off and insert songs only slightly related to the focused topic. So I actually found myself looking to see who wrote each episode because I realized that the show would switch off between Stephen White and Mark Bernthal as episode writers, and I usually enjoyed the ones written by White a lot more. I'd be like, God, this one is so boring. Like, who's responsible? Who did this? Oh, okay, I got you. You know what? That makes sense. Never mind. It's also just really funny because I found that the episodes that had Lucy in them ended up being my least favorite of the entire season. And that made me really upset because it's not her fault. And I love Lucy. I also feel like the episodes with Mark Bernthal showed that he didn't really understand like how to transition from talking into a song. He'd always just have them say, why don't we sing this song that we always sing? And then they would sing the song.
And I love you. Let's all sing our song before you leave. Because love is the most special word of all. Let's sing our I love you song before we have to leave.
Like, you don't have to say that. You can just sing the song. God, that would drive me insane. I hated when they did that. And they did that a lot throughout season 1. This isn't a problem that Barney and Friends just had in this season. They would continue to have that through at least season 3. But it's so baffling. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's just a nitpick of mine. But this isn't even in the script. This is just me going off. All right, back to the program. Whatever. Back to the spotlight.
Play ball!
While execution wasn't always the greatest, the messages themselves were genuine. There wasn't a single time in which the lessons taught felt inauthentic or that the theme was hammered in too far. Across the 30 episodes, Barney and Friends went into many different topics ideal for the school setting, as well as keeping the core of Barney intact. Episodes such as Alphabet Soup had the kids relating different songs to the words they'd spell on a chalkboard. In 4 Seasons Day, the crew delve into the intricacies of all 4 seasons and what makes them each unique. Anything you'd imagine hearing taught in an elementary school was essentially thrown at a wall and opened up. The diversity of the cast also allowed for language learning. Min, being Filipina, would at times sing songs in Tagalog.
Dalawang tenga, dalawang mata, ilong na maganda.
Tina, in the same fashion, would do just that, but in Spanish instead.
A las muchachas bonitas se las cantamos así.
Where Barney and Friends would shine, however, would be the episodes in which imagination is at the forefront, the franchise's bread and butter. The treasure of Rainbow Beard is often brought up as it sees the friends completing small different tasks in order to unearth a treasure left by an imaginary pirate, played by show writer Stephen White.
Sincerely yours, Rainbow Beard the Pirate.
And Let's Help Mother Goose, Mother Goose is brought out and teaches her nursery rhymes to everyone in order to refill damaged pages from her book.
I want everyone to use their imagination.
That's our favorite game.
It sure is!
The very concept of imagination is something that could not have been shelved aside, regardless of the new educational elements the show had to take on after hitting PBS, and it's clear that the staff put their best foot forward to maintain it. Complaints would often be thrown around from parents saying that Barney was too sugary, mindless, and free of conflict, when in reality, it's far from it. While a good amount of the time the kids would get along fine, there would be moments where this wasn't the case. The kids had their small spats with each other, and when they did, it was honestly like a breath of fresh air. Barney episodes can be over-friendly at times, so any emotion of this nature is very much welcomed. You're not going to agree all the time, especially as a child. It's what makes us special as humans, and the production crew knew that. When Tasha first debuted, Michael and Derek argued over who'd get to keep an art piece, later making up and deciding that Tasha should keep it, being that it was her first day at the school. While of course, I don't feel these conflicts lasted as long as they should have in order to fully relate to childlike arguments, it's a show, and the time spent on these issues is well within the allotted time they have to fit in. One thing season 1 of this series does amazingly well is its attention to detail and getting you to care for everyone on screen. One example being the episode Playing It Safe. After cleaning up the classroom, the gang head home, but Barney is left as the only toy left on the floor. I remember watching this and out loud going like, wait, did they not? Bro, yo, Y'all left something on the... They probably forgot. I don't even think like the producers realized that they literally just left one thing on the floor. And right when I said that, Derek walked back in frame, placed Barney on the table, and laid a bandage on his tail for when he'd injured it earlier in the episode.
There you go, Barney. Now that bandage is just the right size. See you tomorrow.
It's little things like this that are so sweet and just sentimental to me. In Happy Birthday, Barney, Kathy spends the entire show wondering what to gift Barney for his big day. Ultimately, she hands him her teddy and... oh my god, I could cry.
He's a really good teddy. You'll like him.
Kathy is one of the best characters just for this alone. It's selfless and innocent and reflects her character so well.
What I'd really like is for you to keep Teddy. Presents can be nice, but it's the gift of love that's important. And thank you for giving me the gift of love.
An absolute favorite of mine, however, is Caring Means Sharing. Min and Kathy fight over who gets to play with Barney early on.
I feel like a rubber band that's been stretched.
Over the course of the episode, Barney teaches everyone the joys of sharing, and they both make up in the end. Barney then says something that I will forever keep close to my heart.
It's the gift of love, and you can keep it if you want to, but the more you share love, the more you'll have. Just try it.
It's things like this, little things like this, again, that make all the difference. Unconditional love is a mainstay and staple within the franchise, of course, but in short bursts, it means so much, especially when it's used to help resolve a conflict.
I love you, Barney. Me too. Come on, okay.
Now, I wanted to ease things and end things with the final episode of this season, Everyone is Special. It's honestly amazing how much of a bookend it ends up being. Both episode 1 and the finale begin with Min playing pretend, standing atop the tree stump. Both episodes also enforce the thought that everyone is born special, something Barney had been preaching since the days of the Backyard Gang. The finale deals with the different abilities we all share and what makes us each unique. The entire cast is present as Barney reveals a package delivered to him earlier. As the kids all look to view the item, it turns out to be a mirror, leading the kids to all say something about each other that makes them unique.
Because you are special, and you are too.
You may be noticing that I haven't talked too terribly much about Barney himself, and that's because his role remains the same no matter where he's placed. The kids are the soul, while Barney is the heart. The kids figure out the world and their surroundings, and Barney is there to lead them onto the right path. He's there to show them love and a hand in need, and that's something Season 1 never fails to remember. When someone is struggling, Barney is only ever a few feet away. He isn't real, but in their mind, he's as real as their imagination allows him to be, making him just as present as ever. He's the teacher, he's the mentor, he's the fatherly figure, and he's only a stuffed animal. Season 1 of Barney and Friends proved itself to have somewhat of a rough start, as any beginning series will. But over time, it grew into itself, starting to really gain its footing and understanding of its purpose. 4 episodes would be released under the Barney Home Video VHS line, and later, the remaining 26 would be individually put out on VHS as well by Time Life Video. After its initial run, the show would be cancelled, but after fan outcry, more episodes were ordered, and the show picked production right back up again. The staff and cast worked hard to bring the big purple dinosaur to the TV screen, and started what is now known as a cultural phenomenon. If nothing else, Season 1 of Barney and Friends served as an important stepping stone of trial and error, gradual improvement, and a necessary series, introducing Barney the Dinosaur to millions across the world, and reminding them all that they're special. Well, would you look at that? I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I did not expect to be doing this soon after the installment focusing on Season 1. After a very brief cancellation debacle, Barney and Friends would be back on the air for its second season in mid to late 1993 with 17 new episodes. Just like with season 1, I grew up with this season through the home videos released from it, but this one I'd actually seen more of compared to the former. Nonetheless, there was a ton of new content for me to take in, and that's why we're here today. The second season of Barney and Friends.
The monkey thought 'twas all in fun. Pop!
Goes the weasel!
Barney, hi!
A new season means a new coat of paint, and that's going to be the name of the game for a lot of aspects of these new episodes. The visual design differences are very apparent yet subtle at the same time. The intro itself features the same track as before, but with all new visuals taken from the new series of episodes, and slightly altered timing on the opening animatic. Barney receives an entirely newly constructed plush for his toy form, better fitting his fully realized appearance. The park and classroom also see a makeover. My opinion on this set tends to fluctuate. I appreciate it being both different and familiar, and I love the new wooden play area, but it feels weirdly cramped. There was something about the way the original playground was laid out that made it feel a bit more lively. There was a full swing set, slide, and fire pole. But in the new set, these were replaced with just one big wooden playset. The tire swing has also been removed, despite it still being featured in the intro's final shot, which also still shows Barney from the previous season for whatever reason. Probably because they removed the tire swing and couldn't shoot it again. Also, this season just looks visibly darker, and it's odd. While before the show was very well lit both inside the school and out, the new sets are much darker by comparison. The newly decorated classroom even has a darker wallpaper. I like that it all stands out compared to the past 30 episodes of the show. It makes it more distinct, but I'm not sure on whether I actually enjoy it or not. Now, let's get to the more drastic elements changed.
What do you think it is? Let's go see. Come on!
Okay.
Baby Bop's size has been reduced. She'd go from being as tall as Barney to about half his height. This was brought up in a question answered by series creator Cheryl Leach back in 1993.
This question is, how did Baby Bop get smaller? And I'm not sure what that question means.
Baby Bop, through children's imaginations, became smaller and smaller over time. So evidently they must have imagined her very well, because this series, in almost every show, she is smaller. So we thank children for helping us with that.
Her height was changed to better reflect that the character is 2 years old, and it looks a lot better. Now, I didn't particularly like this suit all that much in the beginning. Her face is still angled downward, so you can never see her mouth unless she faces to the side. And even when you do see her mouth, it's too much. But as time went on, I gained a greater appreciation for it, and big thanks due to her lovely personality brought on by voice actress Julie Johnson, and the performance by new body performer Jeff Ayers.
I did not lose my blankie. Blankie lost me.
Baby Bop's role here is much more prominent than it had been before. She even has episodes tailored specifically to her, whether it be learning about the different things she can do as she gets older, or even her birthday. The character growing is something that's focused on, and gives her a more special presence in the series.
It's bright yellow with purple spots and a bright green tummy.
It's BJ!
Another special presence is of course the arrival of new character BJ, Baby Bop's older sibling. BJ is weird. Not the character, but his arrival in general is a little strange. Although he would first be teased as early as a Barney and Friends marathon from before the new season would air.
Boy, oh, and we'll even have a new friend for everyone to meet.
A new friend? Can you tell us about that?
Oh, I can't say anything about it. It's going to be a surprise.
It would quickly become apparent that the character himself may not have finished production by the time season 2 had started being written. He's not mentioned at all early on, and first debuted very late, appearing first in episode 10. He's not featured in any clips from the new opening, and in his debut, he's not given any sort of grand entrance or announcement. He just sort of shows up.
Look, everybody, it's BJ, my brother!
Hey, BJ! Hi, everybody!
His debut episode isn't even focused towards him. It's an episode dealing with Baby Bop's birthday. Because of his late arrival, BJ unfortunately doesn't add too terribly much, his focus being more towards that of Baby Bop from the previous season, but just slightly lesser. He does shine in the episode An Adventure in Make-Believe, in which the crew teach him how to play pretend, however. If he appeared earlier, I'm sure they'd have been able to split the spotlight between both him and his sibling more evenly. Baby Bop receives a ton more focus here as opposed to season 1, and I love that. I do wish BJ had a bit more to do, however. Now I want to talk about Barney last, so let's move on to the human characters.
Thank you, Tina. And now for the weather. Today's weather looks pretty sunny.
The kids are exactly as delightful as before. And there's not too much more to say about them than that. Michael is now older, of course, only by about 1 year, but he might as well be a grown man compared to the rest of his main cast members.
He said, nice!
Every cast member returns except one. Lucy makes one final appearance with the Barney franchise as a whole in the 11th episode, The Exercise Circus. And with her having been gone all the way through then, it was great getting to see her again. New characters include Julie, Jason, and David, who all have some pretty good acting for their age. The awkwardness of last season in terms of the crew getting to know each other and just being kids in general is a lot less present this time around, and I like it a lot. The crew made great use of writing in little things that the kid actors may have happening in real life as a way of teaching the viewers about these occurrences that they may have going on in theirs. For instance, John David Bennett would need to wear glasses, and as such, Sean was written in early on to mention that he'd be needing glasses. Later on in the series, he just starts wearing them, and would continue to do so for the rest of his run in the franchise. I love little things like this. Any little thing they could add to the show as a learning tool would be considered, and it's wonderful. Now, Barney. Oh boy, Barney.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! Oh, I love using paint!
I didn't have too much to say last time, and for the most part, a lot of what I said still stands. His role always remains the same, and he's an absolute joy to see on screen, always. However, there were multiple times where I felt he himself was doing way too much.
Honey and biscuits and a big glass of buttermilk, I can't wait!
Barney's pitch gets a bit higher with this season, and with that being so, that also means that he's more excitable. And with that being so, his performance physically is through the roof.
And what fun you can have with those books, oh boy! Oh, why, with one of those books...
It's nothing short of impressive. West and Joyner have nailed their connection, and the puppeting is near perfect. It just seems the performance itself can be overbearing at times. I found myself at different points out loud being like, alright, I get it. It's even at points where nothing is really happening at all.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
I love Barney, all around and always, and he is great in this series of episodes. But I wish he'd have turned it down just a smidge, just a little bit. That's all, just a little pinch, just a little teeny bit, so, you know, just a little teeny. On a brighter note, his personality is cemented the most here. The ad-libs have improved, and Joyner adds an amazing level of polish to different scenes. Some even to where you can tell a movement or dance was not scripted, but rather thrown in just at the right moment.
I love you, you love me. We're best friends like friends should be.
It's wonderful, and in that aspect, Barney excels at doing what he always does, making the viewer smile.
Love me too. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe it.
Let me say right off the bat that this season is an immediate improvement from its predecessor. I began watching only a few days after the spotlight would go live for Barney and Freinds Season 1, and I saw the improvements right as Barney hopped on screen.
Hi, everybody! Looking for me?
One of my biggest complaints with the first season was the incohesive nature of many different episodes. This, of course, was chalked up to the production crew not having the most experience with a televised format, as well as the impeding time crunch they had been on at the time. But from as early as Season 2's first episode, the crew show a theme that carries throughout the entire runtime, as Barney and his friends learn about the season of autumn and different fall activities they could take part in.
Autumn, fall, autumn,
Now, this isn't to say that this new series of episodes would be without its share of rough moments. In the episode My Favorite Things, Barney and friends talk about objects they hold close to them, such as Baby Bop's blankie and Kathy's teddy. However, after a while, things trail off. Barney invites a friend over, and they all listen to an unrelated story about shapes for a long time.
You say he won't come out still because no one has on the color green. If you have on anything green, raise your little finger.
I have a green stuff.
Okay, they have on green, and they said to me.
It was nice, but also it was like, what did any of this have to do with the episode? These scattered theming episodes are still here, albeit few and far between. There were also less instances of a song only loosely tied to the idea of the episode being thrown in, and for the most part, it didn't seem as if the show was reaching in order to fill and pad out for time. Some episodes also highlight a feeling I didn't really get from season 1, in the sense that when a guest appeared, they felt like a legitimate person, rather than a loose character with a few lines. Save for Patty, of course. The episode Picture This is a big example of this.
I have a friend who loved to draw pictures when he was a little boy. He wanted to grow up to be an artist too. And you know what?
What?
He did grow up to be an artist. Would you like to meet him?
Barney brings in an artist named Tommy DePaula to show the kids his artistic process. Why this man is hanging out with an easel in a playground is beyond me, but I mean, hey, imagination. So he might not even be there, I don't know. As Tommy speaks about the book he illustrated, it's most likely scripted to a certain extent, but his way of speaking comes off as if it's all improv.
Tommy?
Yeah.
When you were a little boy, did you like to draw the same things you do now?
The same things I draw now? Oh, yeah. I like to draw birds and animals and people, fairy tale princesses.
It's as if he's not going off of anything and talking about his work to a real class of children. It's so nice and comfy, and this alone makes Picture This one of my absolute favorite episodes. My only thing is, sometimes Barney brings people out and just like don't even explain who they are or what they're known for or what they're gonna do. Like in the episode The Exercise Circus.
Well, hey everybody, look who's here. It's my good friend Joe Scruggs.
Hi, Barney!
Hi, Joe.
Like, okay, I had to look him up, alright? I'm sure he's a popular singer, or at least was in the 90s, so I guess with that in mind, there's gotta be some kids that would have recognized him, right? I guess, I don't know. But Barney doesn't introduce him as, it's Joe Scruggs. He's a great singer. No, he just says that Joe is his good friend. And it's like, that's nice, Barney, but we're after school waiting to get picked up by our parents in the playground, and this stranger just walks out the classroom. Didn't we literally have a song about strangers last season?
Never talk to strangers. That's very good advice.
The wiggle in my knee, and in my seat, and in my feet.
I know he's gotta be a great guy, but that's just a man. Anyways.
You can say it once, you can say it again. It's as easy to learn as counting to 10. Hello, hello, hola!
Season 2 has a ton of moments that stand out to me for a variety of reasons. There's a very clear focus on 3 big things that would be important from this point on. One of these is storytelling. Season 1 of the show mainly implemented this through the use of puppet shows the kids would put on, and that would return here as well, just not nearly as prevalent in this format. Instead, Barney would introduce a storybook and read it out loud with everyone. While I wasn't always a fan of just how long they could end up being a lot of the time, that one story about the owl, I'm looking at you.
And?
Owl tried to sleep. Owl tried to sleep.
And?
Owl tried to sleep.
And?
Owls tried to sleep.
Oh my god, stop! We get a lot of story reading and storytelling throughout these episodes. It actually surprised me just how many times this would happen, and I don't blame them. With a character having a voice as soothing as Barney's could be, it makes sense that they do the most with it. Hearing him read to the kids makes it feel as though he was truly meant for it, making it more apparent what it would lead on to be with the Bedtime with Barney radio show premiering early the following year. Another big thing is that the focus on family is also very prominent. BJ and Baby Bop have sweet scenes together, and even share the sister song that debuted with Tina and Lucy prior.
But I know she's always there, and I know she'll always care. She's my sister. I love my sister. I'm his sister. I
Grandparents Are Grand is hands down one of my favorite episodes, as it shows the family dynamic between both Derek and his granddad and Kathy with her grandmother. The family dynamic being as strong as it is here is something I felt was noticeably absent from the past season, and well welcomed here, and I just adored the adults on screen. The third thing I made sure to put down is absolutely just the guests that would appear on the show. Every last person that showed up was a delight. They all felt so real and genuine, and in a way acted as a cool-down period for any and everything that had been happening before their arrival. I honestly can't choose a favorite guest appearance just because they were all so wonderful. No guest ever felt as though they overstayed their welcome, as they each had the perfect amount of screen time for what they'd be doing. Tommy and his illustrations, Joe Scruggs and his song, and I know I roasted the man for singing his song for too long, and I still stand by that. The man was charming, don't get it twisted. The grandparents, bless her heart, Ella Jenkins with her ukulele. Oh, I watched the finale featuring her appearance with my partner, and even she was telling me how she wished Jenkins had a show just speaking about her life. Like, it's beautiful.
Shake hands with friends, 'cause it's time to go, and I hope I'll see you another day. It's been fun visiting with all of you. Well, thank you.
All of the guests were absolutely amazing and added their own special something to the show. Now, you can't mention Season 2 without an adventure in make-believe, the episode that went on to be released as Let's Pretend with Barney on VHS. This episode should be the poster for what the franchise is all about. Teaching the new character BJ the fundamentals of using your imagination is a brilliantly thought of concept and made for a memorable episode fitted with great writing. The iconic theme Just Imagine would also make its debut here. Now let's cap things off with the finale. The finale, A Very Special Delivery, is another personal favorite of mine, as it perfectly caps off the season. Across various episodes, Tasha would often mention that her family would be getting bigger. Here in the finale, we find that her parents are having twins. The episode is centered around the notion that everyone is special, no matter who or what they are. Sound familiar?
Because you are special. And you are too. Remember?
In the same way Season 1 ended with an everyone is special premise, Season 2 would follow suit and is handled so well. Every dinosaur is even present as Tasha's parents arrive with both babies in hand. Barney would even lead in a new slower arrangement of the song Everyone is Special. It's heartwarming, it's fun, and I honestly couldn't think of a better way they could have ended things off. There's so much to love about what was brought forward here, and Barney would show absolutely no signs of stopping.
And Barney, where'd he go?
Granddad, he's right there.
Barney and Friends would air 17 new episodes from September through October of 1993, releasing certain episodes later on VHS. The year following would prove to be one of the characters' biggest yet, but we'll leave it at that for right now. Season 2 of Barney and Friends, if nothing else, was a strong improvement. Lots of new things were introduced, and lots of new things felt solid. While I can't really say I fully enjoyed doing a second watch through of the first season, I'd fully welcome it here. For such an important series of episodes to me as a kid, it brings a smile to my face knowing that through the episodes in their entirety, even as an adult, their importance still holds strong, making them special as they are. Here we are again. Welcome back. We're at it again. We covered the first 2 seasons of Barney and Friends from 1992 and 1993, as well as the video specials that took place the year following. In 1995, Barney the Dinosaur would be back home and on television once again for a new set of 20 episodes. This is probably the one I've been looking most forward to for this series. Does it hold up? Let's take a look. Get comfortable, grab a snack or two, or something, I don't know, and set the stage as we dive into Barney and Friends, the 3rd season.
Oh, hi, everyone.
Season 3 is the most accurate example of a refresh that you can imagine. The intro animatic gets fully updated with a really funny yet confusing few frames of animation, while the opening theme remains the same. The set also sees a whole new look. It's important to note that both seasons 1 and 2 of the series were filmed at the Color Dynamics studio in Dallas, Texas. The show would then move to a new studio in Las Colinas, meaning that an entirely new studio space would be put to use, giving the school setting a bunch more space to work with. The tree is still there, the tree stump is still there, and the wooden playset would also be there, but with a slight freshening up. Just about every issue I had with how the previous season went about the look of the school area has been alleviated with the use of this new studio space. Neither the outside nor the inside feel cramped, and the lighting is so much better. Bright, it's spacious, and it feels a bunch more lively without necessarily having to add anything super substantial. Everything is just absolutely beautiful.
The tree leaves and the bushes are so green and the grass.
By far the biggest addition to this set is the newly built treehouse setting. In the first episode, during a Jack and the Beanstalk inspired segment, the kids climb a tree meant to represent one of the beans planted by Jack, in this case, Sean. At the top, we enter a large treehouse fitted with furniture and a wraparound staircase. This is honestly something the show needed, and adds just an extra area for the production crew to play around with. I love it. Nothing too crazy, but the classroom is also visually different. Things have of course moved around, and with an extra amount of space, there's more room to breathe life into the indoor setting. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The way the familiar locations look here, compared to the past season, is such a massive step up, even if it is still meant to be the same school.
Has the train arrived?
Did I hear a train? Oh, where's the train?
Now let's talk about the dinosaurs. By no means is this anything close to a video on costume evolution, but being as the show refreshed itself so much, I'd be silly not to mention anything related to the way they look now. But I'll keep it as brief as I can, and we'll also discuss the characters themselves as we move down the line. Barney is who we'll talk about last. BJ!
Hi, everybody!
As you may recall, in 1993, BJ was introduced into the show's second season as Baby Bop's 6-year-old sibling. Being that he's the elder brother, the idea was to design him taller, being at about Barney's height. However, this idea would quickly be rethought as in 1994 during the New York City live shows, as well as the NBC special Barney's Imagination Island. BJ's base design would remain largely the same, but with the character having been shrunken down, now being only slightly taller than his younger sister. Now, in 1995, BJ appears in Season 3 with an entirely new base design, a new head sculpt, and a new body to better allow for movement. BJ is performed by suit actor Jeff Brooks, who first took the helm as BJ in Barney's Imagination Island after Jenny Dempsey. It's honestly crazy to me to think that the production crew wanted Baby Bop tall, and then decided against it to better suit her age, and then added another dinosaur character and had the exact same change of heart again. BJ here looks so sleek and well imagined and wonderful. BJ is now fitted with a head bobbing mouth mechanic that looks really silly but is insanely practical, and I love it. Baby Bop would also receive a bit of a makeover. No longer with her big round eyes beating out at you, her face is lifted upward and she's got a little mouth mechanism just like her brother. Both siblings feel perfectly integrated into the episodes they're a part of, sharing a fair amount of screen time between them both, and are an absolute delight to see when they appear together. BJ has episodes heavily featuring him, such as the firefighter episode and an episode in which he loses his hat. And Baby Bop has episodes with her influence in mind, such as Classical Cleanup, where she helps clean the classroom after her mess.
Kindest, happiest, and best friends.
Me.
Oh my god, I've said so many times before, but this is by far, in my own opinion, the best that Barney the Dinosaur has ever looked. The Backyard Gang, the movie, and anything past this season, even today. Before this, David Joyner had utilized the exact same costume from 1991 that was introduced towards the end of Barney and the Backyard Gang. By 1993, the suit seemed to be nearing its end, the arms yellowing due to sweat buildup, the fleece worn and balling up so much that it's visible and almost distracting in the finale of Barney and Freinds Season 2. The costume had been in 2 Backyard Gang home videos, live performances, daytime appearances, 50-something episodes of the TV series, you name it. Barney's Imagination Island was the first to introduce a newer look for Barney in a home video format, which then carried over into Barney Live in New York City. But season 3 episode 1 would be the first time we'd see it for the TV series. It's beautiful, it's sleek, he no longer has that rigid boxy and angled appearance, and he's just cleaner. My only slight gripe is that there are times where it looks as though you can barely make out the mouth movements, but that's a very small thing. In season 2, I took a bit of an issue with the over-energetic nature that Barney would exert at times. But this is no longer a problem. Barney is at a perfect level of excitement throughout here, and I never felt as though he was doing too much or being as overbearing as before. When I say this set of episodes was a breath of fresh air, I truly mean it. While I enjoyed season 2 quite a bit, I feel as though with season 3, Barney being slightly toned down made the watch through more enjoyable. He's still super jolly and giddy and excitable exactly as he should be.
Pumpernickel bread.
Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel.
But he's also soft and caring when he needs to be.
Would that be okay, Barney?
Well, Carlos, puppies need lots of love and attention. And if he stayed at school, he'd have to be all alone all night because everyone goes home.
The kids are the kids, and you know what? I'm probably going to end up saying less about them as time goes on. They're always the same, really. I mean, there's not really too much to say, at all. Carlos is now part of the main cast after the New York City live shows, and his brother Juan comes with him. It feels fairly obvious that Juan was added in order to fill the sibling dynamic of the human characters after both Tina and Lucy had left the series. I like Juan, but the problem I felt is that there's always some sort of slight conflict whenever he's around. I understand the point is siblings won't always get along, but there were times where it felt every episode they were in together, there would be some sort of conflict.
Hey, I saw it first, Carlos.
No way, I saw it first.
Come on, that's not fair.
It's just interesting because as far as I can remember, Tina and Lucy very rarely were ever shown to have any sort of conflicts with each other. Same with BJ and Baby Bob. It's nothing huge, just something I realized while watching. While many kids return from season 2, Michael is no longer part of the main cast. And as mentioned earlier, Tina would also move on along with Derek, who'd both have somewhat of a send-off episode later in the season. Certain new characters, including the twin sisters Ashley and Alyssa, and Steven, were essentially brought in to get viewers familiar with their faces. As in the season following, the main cast we'd known for the better majority of the last few seasons would no longer be on the show. These new characters don't really have many lines or any real episodes where they serve as important at all. Yep, they're the kids, alright. I was mainly just happy to see my favorite characters come back, like Min, Tasha, Sean, and Kathy. The biggest addition to the character roster has got to be the introduction of Stella.
Why, I have a wonderful story about flying.
Stella the Storyteller is a woman who appears from a magical door from time to time. She and Barney are good friends, and she's known as a traveler, always bringing her suitcase and different outfits with each arrival. Stella appears to tell stories to the gang whenever she stops by, and this is something this show absolutely benefited from. Stella just being around acted as a nice little cool-down period. She's played by the late Phyllis Cicero, whose talent should not be underplayed. Her acting is phenomenal, not only in its naturality, but in her physical mannerisms as well. We all remember having stories read out to us in our younger school years, whether it be by the teacher themselves or a guest in the classroom, and Stella emulates that to a T. She puts on voices, adds her own gestures, and uses items from her travels as part of the stories she presents.
The king said, "Why are you so happy?" And Paolo said, "I'm happy because I'm working in my bakery."
Her presence always brought a smile to my face, as it never felt like a hindrance. It was never, "Ugh, we're doing this again." It was always, "Oh, Stella, I didn't think she'd be in this episode." Having that almost motherly figure in the form of a main recurring cast member was so nice.
Toodles.
Also, Mr. Boyd was cool too. Mr. Boyd is a janitor that appears in the series. I didn't put him in the script because he appears in like one episode, maybe two. I don't remember. I only remember him from one. And he doesn't really do anything super like interesting, I guess. But yeah, he's cool. Music is wonderful as it normally is. Being that their library is super strong by this point in the show, a ton of new songs are brought back, not even remade or anything, but pulled directly from the past couple of seasons, and I did not mind this at all. They're iconic and perfect just as they have been. It's funny because I actually didn't really enjoy a lot of new songs introduced for this season. There were songs that felt as though they were trying too hard to be a good song. I know coming up with music in a timely manner for a show like this has to be taxing. It's unfortunate that not many of these new tracks were winners. One in particular, I had a really hard time trying to understand what they were even going for in terms of what the song was even intended to sound like.
Oh, the mail, yes, the mail. It's fun to put a letter in the mailbox.
Some songs I just found to be like flat out awful.
He's my brother, my brother, my brother.
But again, not every song is going to be a winner. There were some that kinda hit, and I was just happy to hear my favorites make a return.
And they always come in twos, 1, 2. We've got shoes.
I Love You is just as nice as before, and they've even gotten a lot better at transitioning into the song itself from normal dialogue.
We can all find a way to help each other every day. It's just another way of saying, I love you, you love me.
Barney from a music standpoint is something I think you'd really have to try to mess up entirely, and I think this season did fine enough.
Yes, I say I like autumn.
I have to be honest with you all, I've been savoring this watch through. As we looked across each season one after the other, it was inevitable that we'd trek across familiar ground. It's obvious that certain topics explored before would see use once again, and that's fine. That's what's going to happen with a show like this. However, season 3 jumps out at me in that out of everything we've looked at so far, it feels the most structurally sound. It's become less about the topic being focused on and more to that of the way it's handled and taught differently. Some episodes also just resonate with me, not specifically because of the main topic, but the vibe and flow of everything in general. Episode 1, Sean and the Beanstalk, may just be the biggest example of this.
I sure wish you'd hurry up and grow big and tall.
Is this big and tall enough, Sean?
Barney!
Sean ponders on why his plant isn't growing nearly as fast as those owned by his fellow classmates. As the gang comes together, Barney and friends learn about plant life and what vegetation needs in order to grow. The episode ends with Barney and friends' newfound knowledge on the growth process of plants, and Barney having his own pot of flowers with his name written on top. The flow of this episode in terms of writing and song introduction is so smooth and happy. I honestly hope my bias towards the songs used isn't influencing my thoughts on this, because that's not really fair. But then again, this is my review, meaning my opinion is the ultimate opinion, so I mean, we go from songs like Growing,
And as they grow a little older, we can do more things because I'm growing, and so are you.
to Mr. Sun,
Please shine down on, please shine down on, please shine down on me.
to the Raindrop song,
I don't care if it never stops. How I love the raindrops. Oh
and everyone just seems so happy, Barney included of course.
boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Again, the topic itself is wonderful, yet the composition surrounding it is what makes it so much better. One thing I noticed about season 3 is that while Barney still maintains his mentor, teacher-like role, this is the first time I noticed the kids actually sort of playing with him. But Hedge, they always play with Barney. That's the whole point. He's at the school and it's in the theme song. Yes, Squidward, but listen, hear me out. There are moments where the kids will interact with Barney as if he's one of their friends, as in they're human friends. It's not even anything super substantial, nothing huge to point out, but just small bits of dialogue and physical action that make him feel less like this extraordinary being and more that of a classmate or a stuffed animal being toted around.
We have lots of fresh air out here, Barney.
Oh, we sure do, man, but all this spinning is making me dizzy. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's something I noticed as early as the first episode where I felt something different was happening in terms of how everyone talked to Barney or addressed him.
We're going to surprise you, Barney. And don't peek.
Oh, I promise I won't. I promise.
Again, it's something small, but something that adds on to the series. It's polished, and I think that's what matters most over everything, is that this season feels very well polished.
Pretend you hear two babies crying, Barney.
I think I hear a baby crying.
Two babies, Barney?
Oh, sorry. I think I hear two babies crying.
It also feels as though they enjoy finding new ways of telling a story, as each method implemented before is melded together here at different points. One of the kids will read a storybook with the rest of the gang, Barney will read a story at times, the kids will act out a skit in order to tell a story, and puppet shows would return as well. However, now, with the addition of Stella the Storyteller, we have a whole new way of being able to get a story out of the way, and more to play around with in general. Where in Season 1 I felt this to be a chore, it now feels like a genuine piece of each episode that I welcome fully and wholeheartedly. We get a variety of new things to talk about this time around. There's an episode solely tailored to firefighting, one that's involving what it's like to be at a grocery store, and even an episode focusing on something as minuscule as shoes and the different kinds there are as something to smile at. There's a lot to love and not too much to say in ire. I think my main gripe with Season 3 is the moments in which the show seemed unsure of just what it wanted to do. The episode It's Raining, It's Pouring being a big example. The crew think of rainy day activities. Tasha tells a story. The late Tommy DePaula comes out and reads a story that he wrote, and then they act out another story. Going into the treehouse after the rain, they set up circus-like decorations in order to have men do one 30-second interpretive dance sequence, and then the entire bit is finished. Only throwing salt into the wound, Baby Bop appears, but only for this segment, literally meaning that she exists in the episode to be part of the audience for a minute and a half, and then just goes away. Episodes like this are few and far between, but are the least impactful out of this run of episodes, as it feels as though the production was essentially just trying to get something on air. Season 3 does carry its share of soft, loving moments, just as the past couple would. In the episode A Welcome Home, Min shows off a dog being put into adoption, to which Julie relays that she is also adopted. Later in the show, Julie sings a song called Someone to Love You Forever, a new song written for the series expressing her sympathy with the animal over its adoption.
When you reach out to me, I will always be someone to love you forever.
While I'm not the biggest fan of the new track, the sentiment is something beautiful that I understand and appreciate. The episode On the Move introduces a new character, Kenneth, as the new kid at the school, but also serves as the final episode featuring both Tina and Derek. The gang whip up a scrapbook with old photos of everyone together. It warms my heart not only getting to see these characters again, but the fact that they got an entire episode tailored to their departure is so sweet. This is the part where I briefly speak about the season finale, but this time around, while there is of course a last episode, it's not as definitively a finale as before. Whereas before, the season finale would feature a loose theme centered around the importance of family, or that everyone is special, Season 3 episode 20 instead focuses on airport manners and flying in general. It's different, but I love that we got an episode talking about something like what it's like to be at an airport. Again, it's something different, but it's something interesting, and that's all I could really hope for. Barney and Freinds Season 3 would run its 20 new episodes from February to October of 1995. While not part of the TV series, the various Barney home video VHS releases put out around this time are often looped in with this season, being that the intro sequence maintains the same structure as well as the same set being returned to. There were a lot of home videos being produced around this time, including Barney's Talent Show, Barney's Fun and Games, Barney's 1, 2, 3, 4 Seasons, Barney's Sensational Day, and more. Season 3 of Barney and Freinds should be remembered not only for the content of its episodes, but also for just how much of an improvement it proved to be on the series as a whole for its time. It knew what it wanted to do, how it wanted to communicate its messages, and how it should teach its viewers. This would be the last time much of the series' main cast would serve as part of the main cast, as mentioned earlier, and I'm glad they were such a big part of my life. The feel of Season 3 is unlike anything before. The confidence the show had in itself was just a joy to witness. Barney's come a long way since his television debut, both on and off screen. Although Barney and Freinds would continue for long after 1995, Seasons 1 through 3 are generally solidified as the golden years of the show. The Lions era, if you will. Having this early section of the show's history as part of my own history is something I'm forever grateful for, as it greatly helped shape me and who I am today. It's had its ups and it's had its downs, but in the end, I still love Barney. Alicia, Amanda, Andrew, Austin, Autistic Disney, Chaco, Daniel, Emilia, Gwen, Helen, Ian, Jake, Luke, Manny, Matt, Prima Donna, Sav44.